Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to Premier League Saturday Football. It's back and we're good and happy to have it back, and I hope you're very, very, very happy about it as well. We're all happy. Lots of verys and lots of happies. Come on Goldbridge, you're better than that. Anyway, look, very much looking forward to this game. I do think straight away I'd be very interested to see what people are saying in the chat, Simon, because I do think that this is a game that Manchester City would normally win quite comfortably. However, I do really hope that Newcastle get a result. So I'm going to put a result prediction up for you. Obviously, Man City are the home side here. We'll go through the team news in a minute. Big shout out to OneFootball for the stats carousel. You can download that for free. They're sponsoring that for us as normal. Get all your latest breaking football news, stats and transfer news. Individualised player stats on OneFootball as well, which I like. Download it for free. Scan the QR code in the top left or download through the link in the video description. It's free on Apple and Android. Really good little app for all your latest news. But yeah, I think Man City will get something out of this. But look, I'm really hoping from a Manchester United point of view, I'm sure Arsenal fans, Liverpool fans would like to see a draw here. I think a draw is a good result for everybody. I'd rank it like this: a draw number 1, and Newcastle win number 2, and the Man City win number 3 is what I would like today. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. I thought Newcastle played well against Manchester United last week, but I suppose this is the development of Newcastle really. Are they capable of going to places like this and getting results? Because that's progression. Man City's team, you might have seen it on the screen: Ederson, Walker, Akanji, Diaz, Aki, Rodri, Gundogan, Foden, De Bruyne, Grealish and Haaland. And Grealish, I've got to say, I did say that this was a massive season for Jack Grealish, and whether he can establish himself in the starting lineup for Pep Guardiola. And I think that this Man City side is going through transition with Haaland up front. No Bernardo Silva starting, which I think is quite significant. I think he's their best player. And I do rate Mahrez, both of them on the bench. But Grealish is starting more games now for Manchester City. Newcastle, Pope's back after missing the cup final. What a prat. Trippier, Lascelles, Botman and Byrne. And then they've got Longstaff, Gameres, Joel Linton, Almiron, Wilson and Gordon. St. Maximin actually on the bench with Isaac. I mean, look, Newcastle are starting to get there, aren't they? When you've got players of the quality of St. Maximin and Isaac and Targay on the bench, you're going places. But of course, they have missed their centre back that's been playing quite regularly, Shah. Lascelles plays today. That's a drop off. That's a weak area, especially when you've got someone like Erling Haaland playing. So it'd be very, very interesting. I mean, I think Man City are going to win this, if I'm completely honest. I think Man City will win it 3-1. But I'd be over the moon if we got a result today. I really, really would. And when I say a result that many of us want. So yeah, I'd be happy with that. Well, unless you're a Man City fan, you probably want Man City to win. I mean, there might be non-Man City fans that want Man City to win. Sunderland fans, maybe. But I think for the good of the league, it would be nice to see a draw. I would love a draw. I would take that. Hi, Mark. Are you doing any 3 o'clock games? Says Dale. Not today. Not doing 3 o'clock games today. There's a reason for that. I'm going down the park to kick the ball about with Seb. So, sometimes work has to, and I'm doing the Talk Sport show tonight, so I just didn't fancy a day of just writing my life away. People won't remember you for the streams you did, but your family might remember you for the time you spent with them. Deep bridge there, but it's true. No, I can't just burn out every weekend. It's silly. But look, there are some good games at 3 o'clock. I'll be keeping an eye on them, that's for sure, and certainly. Get involved in the Talk Sport show. The Mark Goldbridge show is back. They shouldn't have got rid of it last week for a 0-0 draw. But it's back at 7:30 on YouTube till 9 o'clock and on national radio. So get ready for that. But we're ready for this. I think this is a big game. Obviously, the biggest game of the weekend is Manchester United against Liverpool at Anfield. But I do think this game's big. I do. Whether they can fill the ground or not, that's up for debate, of course. But I certainly think when you look at that league table and how it looks at the moment, title race and top 4 race, you've got 2nd and 5th. It really is the perfect race game, because 4th is what Newcastle want, they're in 5th. 1st is what Man City want, they're in 2nd. It's really interesting. And remember, this game, I think we did it as a watch along back in the autumn. correct me if I'm wrong, I think Newcastle were winning 2-0 at half-time. Man City got it back to 2-2 quite quickly, but they did still end up drawing. So Newcastle have only, I think Newcastle have only lost one game in the Premier League this season. I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong about that. I'm sure they have lost more than that. They've lost 2, but both to Liverpool, funnily enough. So yeah, which way is Newcastle's season going to go now? I did a video yesterday where I said that I feel that the Newcastle dream is starting to slip away. They've got some really difficult games left, and they're 4 points off top 4. They've got this game away. They've got Man United, Arsenal at home. They've got to go to Leeds. They've got to go to Chelsea. They've got to go to Villa. They've got to go to Everton. They've got to go to Brentford. So Newcastle need to get back to that team they were at the start of the season. Otherwise, they are not going to get top 4. And look, Liverpool are ready to pounce right behind them at the moment. So it's a big old game. Empty Had says, Daz, it looks pretty full to me today, which is an achievement because they don't normally fill it. I mean, look, I know that little joke I said about the king size bed and Man City expanding their stadium, but honestly, if you know, it's not even a joke. There is a problem filling it anyway. You don't expand a stadium that you're struggling to fill anyway. And also, I mean, where is Man City going as a football club? People like them even less now after all the charges. I mean, it's almost, I think you've got to be defiant. You've almost got to have a, I don't know, you've got to be a certain, unless you're a hardcore Man City fan, I think choosing to support Man City at the moment is an odd choice. I mean, especially when, look, people say it's the oil derby. Why would you, if you had a choice between Newcastle and Man City at the moment, I think a lot of people would choose Newcastle. But look, that's not what it's about. And I'm not, they are both very, very rich clubs that, to be honest, if they didn't have rich benefactors, this would probably be a mid-table battle at best. But they are the 2 richest clubs in the league. And if Manchester United and Liverpool and Arsenal and Spurs and everybody else doesn't start thinking about getting rich owners in, then this game, potentially, and this is an important point, over the next 5 years, this game will become the biggest game in British football because they will just take over. I mean, Man City already have, and Newcastle will follow suit. So does it feel like it? This doesn't feel like Liverpool Man United's going to feel like tomorrow. And I'm a Man United fan, and Liverpool fans will love it. But even Arsenal fans watching it will get a feeling of what Liverpool Man United is. This is going to be the biggest game if things go the way it's meant to go. And does it feel big, or does it feel manufactured? That's up to you. To me, it feels a bit manufactured. It doesn't feel right, does it? But that's what we've got in store, which is why I think Manchester United needs super wealth, Arsenal needs super wealth, Liverpool needs super wealth, because otherwise this is going to become the biggest game on the calendar. And PD says it's not a big game, but it will become a big game because they'll be the top 2 in the league. It might be a bit lifeless, but it will still be the biggest game because they will take over the league like Man City have. And yeah, I think Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man United, Arsenal, and Man United, Liverpool, those games will still feel like big games, but you'll be fighting for 3rd and 4th. So, Manuel says, I agree with you, Mark, but Newcastle have a wide fan base, don't they? I think it's a bit different with City. They have no fans. It's all fake. As I said, if I was having to choose between the 2, I would support Newcastle. It just feels a little bit more real. But at the end of the day, it's an exciting thought for some. It's a worrying thought for others. I completely disagree with what they were saying on the overlap about, it wouldn't feel real if Man United had super wealthy owners. Does this feel real? They're not going away. I think Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, whether they like it or not, super wealth is the only way to compete. Anyway, we're about to start the match here. Referee just wants to give a high five to someone. Oh no, I think he's just done a deal. He just took something in his hand and then put it in his pocket. Drug dealers. He's just had a bag. Oh, we all saw it, mate. Don't stop trying to act like you didn't. Bloody hell. Dealing right before a game. Here we go. We're off and running. Let's go. The timer's not on the screen, but we're up and running here. Right, come on then. Let's have a look at what people have got. 57% are going for Man City win, 26% going with the draw, 17% going with a Newcastle win. So I think we're all expecting Man City to win this game today. I think Newcastle need to get something out of it. Very difficult place. Very difficult place to get a result. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, by the way. Loving the growth on That's Football this year. It's fantastic. We've got lots of stuff coming up for it as well. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Everyone's welcome. Big throw in by Newcastle into the box. Comes to the edge of the box, and then Trippier still got it and then loses it. And now Newcastle are going to break with De Bruyne. They still got it, De Bruyne. Here's Grealish, doing well at the moment, Grealish. And it should have been 1-0. What a chance. Right on the head of Gundogan, on the edge of the 6-yard box. It should be 1-0. Agreed, but why aren't you clubs creating talent, says Keil Robinson. Team news will be going down on the screen for you there, mates. I'll get the stats carousel running. We were just looking at the league table. So there's your teams. That's the stats. This is a goal for Man City. I don't know how he doesn't do it. Maybe it's a little bit high for him. Yeah, he just can't head it down. It's a great chance. Free, unmarked, 6-yard box. Should be 1-0. Firmino going to Arsenal, says Jay. He's a free transfer, isn't he? I think Firmino's been underutilised by Liverpool this season. I mean, it's not like they haven't been struggling. Nice ball into Callum Wilson. Newcastle just seem a little bit... Already in this game, Newcastle have got into good positions and their final ball's been a bit sloppy. But quite an open start to this game. Newcastle don't want to be too open. Not with Haaland. Remember, you shut Haaland down, you shut Man City down. That's been proven. Ederson, clip that up. Clip that up. Ederson's just kicked it out under no pressure for a throw-in. If that's De Gea, it's getting clipped up. Watch this from Ederson. Oh, look, this won't get clipped. Look at that. De Gea does that. Half our fan base want him sold. Ederson does it. Oh, it happens. He's only human. Makes me laugh. Makes me absolutely laugh. I'm speaking from experience. If De Gea does that, he could make 5 world-class saves and that'll get clipped up. Ederson does it. Don't worry. Don't worry. He's only human. Agendas. Firmino's going to go to Spain, says Jake. Hope we're all doing well anyway. I'm looking forward to this. Hopefully we're going to get a good game. I do not want to see a comfortable 4-0 Man City win. Newcastle, give him a game. Corner. Let's have a quick look at the games this today. I know. I mean, look, the reason I'm not doing the 3 o'clocks is because I think they're all a little bit straightforward. I really think Arsenal beat Bournemouth at the Emirates comfortably, maybe 3 or 4-0 again. Villa Palace is a mid-table game. Boo. Brighton West Ham, it could be a draw. Cross comes in from Newcastle. He's won it well. Good defending by Man City, that. And good defending again. Chelsea Leeds. Chelsea got to win that, but I think if Potter was to lose that, you'd have to say cheerio. So I think Chelsea will win that. Wolves Tottenham. That is probably one of the most boring games. If you didn't sleep well last night, try and find a stream for Wolves against Tottenham at 3 o'clock. You'll be fast asleep by 3:05. And Southampton Leicester as the 5:30 game. That's a disgrace to 5:30 games. That is. I mean, that is an insult to 5:30 games. Yeah, I will be watching the F1 qualifying. I'm pissed off, actually. The first 2 F1 races coincide perfectly with Man United games. Yeah, Newcastle just struggling here to... Their touch looks a bit off. I am on TalkSport tonight, Logan, 7:30. Looking forward to it. Good to be back. Eamon wants, for Arsenal's sake, a draw or a loss for City. Yeah, there's got to be... you do want, if you're an Arsenal fan, and obviously we want it as United fans anyway, you do want City to start dropping points as much as possible because they are the ones that can just get into a run. They are capable of going and winning 10 games in a row. Good pace to this game, though. I don't know about this Gordon. What do you think about this Gordon lad? How much did Newcastle pay for him? I mean, I couldn't believe when Chelsea were looking at buying him for 50 million last summer. Newcastle keep getting the ball stuck under their feet. 45 million, 50 million, apparently. 40 million. Well, look, for Newcastle's sake, I hope he delivers, but I just don't see it. Jake says Everton fans thought he was crap. Well, he's benched St Maximin for him. I mean, I thought St Maximin first half against United last week was Newcastle's best player. I don't quite know. I don't know whether maybe he's carrying an injury. I don't know, but I don't really get that. Clubaholic says much love from Singapore. Hope you're doing well, mate. If you're a Liverpool fan, I hope you lose tomorrow. 6 minutes gone. It's been a reasonably good start to this game, you know. Sarp says Maximum needs to start more. I mean, look. I've played the game. You've played the game. We've watched the game. I'm telling you now, defenders don't like St Maximin. You don't want to play against St Maximin. I would rather play against Gordon every day of the week because he's not as quick and he's not as unpredictable. St Maximin, I don't think he knows what he's going to do. That's dangerous. So, I think unless he's carrying an injury, I think that's a mistake to start Gordon, especially against Kyle Walker, who's one. You know, I've always said Kyle Walker's a Leyton Orient right back with pace. Like Kyle Walker is about pace. Why would you not put St Maximum on him? I think Kyle Walker's in for an easy afternoon. And I know St Maximum is massively unpredictable, but good defending there by Rodri. Would you take Richarlison at Manchester United, says Mohammed? I wouldn't normally, but yes, I would, because we don't really have a striker. So, Tanish says Gordon's got the Everton DNA, so he's there to play rough and dirty. Well, you know what? You're probably right. Let's take into account what's happening here. It's Newcastle at the Etihad. Do you want a flair player like St Maximin, or do you want a hard-working player like Gordon? And you probably hit the nail on the head there, to be fair. As Paul says, St Maximin won't do the defensive work, and you need that. Yeah, it's a fair point. Juan says, who are you supporting? He wants a 1-1 draw. I'll take that. As I said before the kickoff, 1-1 for me is a good result. 0-0. Any draw is a good result, or a Newcastle win after that. But yeah, that's a nice ball in for Gordon. I'm laughing if he scores. Kyle Walker's just... See, that's the thing. He ain't got the pace. He's in there. Kyle Walker just catches him up. Easy work. Gordon's alive. That's an old one. St Maximum is so good running at defenders unless it's Aaron Wan-Bissaka, says Kieran. Look at the... well, no, it wasn't a tackle by Kyle. He's so good, Gordon. He tackled himself. That's why they spent £45 million on him. He's a defender and he's an attacker. It wasn't a tackle by Kyle Walker. He tackled himself. You're so disrespectful to Wout Weghorst, says Paul. I haven't mentioned Wout Weghorst. Don't know what you're talking about. Chinese for me tonight. Breaking news. Right. I'm going to shock you now. There's an injury to Joel Linton. That's not the shock. I don't like fish and chips. I'm finished with them. Get out of my life. I don't like fish and chips. I haven't had fish and chips for ages. Yesterday I got this craving for fish and chips. So we got fish and chips from the local fish and chip shop, which everyone says it's really good, right? I'm sat there eating it and I'm like, this is just stodge on a plate. It's hurting my chest to swallow. It's absolutely tasteless, bland food. I'm finished with fish and chips. I had indigestion last night because of it. So I'm team Chinese takeaway, Indian takeaway, even a pizza, which I'm not massively into. I'm done with fish and chips. I find it stodge food. I don't get it. You're basically putting a stone on just by putting a bag of potatoes and a load of fried fish in your mouth. No, I'm done. I'm done with it. Can't do it. I'm not done with fish and chip shops. I actually quite like a pucker pie, gravy, chips and mushy peas. I love that. But I can't be doing with fish and chips anymore. I like chicken kebab meat and chips as well, but the fish and chips, it's so bland. Foul on the edge of the box, Gundogan. What bigger, Liverpool, Man United or Man United versus Man City? Reece, it's easily Man United, Liverpool. This is a good free kick position for De Bruyne, right on the edge of the box. Gomes is a bit unlucky, actually. He catches him with his trailing foot. It's not... no, he does it on purpose. He did it on purpose, Lynn. He did it on purpose. He knows what he's doing. I love pineapple on pizza, Carl. I know it's not for everybody. Okay, this free kick's ready. Harmon says he's going to hit it keeper's side. I'm calling it now. Oh, shit. Yeah. Best joke you've ever heard. Love the content, Mark, says James. I'm not very good at remembering good jokes. I like observational comedy, to be honest with you. Always one of my favourite ones is and look, it's very, very simple when you've seen it a million times. Let's just see this free kick with De Bruyne up and over the bar. To be fair, Mark, I think English food is bland, says Wolf. Well, you're right. I never, and he did go keeper's side, so well done. I never thought I would say this, but I do find a lot of English food very bland. My favourite English or British meal that's stereotypically British is probably an English breakfast. I think that's the best. Malp says you probably had a dodgy fish and chips. No, it wasn't. The chips were good. The fish was good. It was just very... There's no taste. I was squirting all sorts of stuff on it. Not that sort of squirting. I mean, ketchup and stuff. But an English breakfast is nice. Sunday roast is nice, yeah, if you get the right combinations. My favourite joke, I like observational comedy. So an example of observational comedy would have been when I first heard this, I literally pissed myself. Was when it's funny, you know, people mock it because oh, it's funny because it's true, but it's still good comedy, I think. And it was Peter Kay on tour, and he said the dance you do on the if you're at a wedding, or if you go clubbing or something, but probably more of a wedding. You know, at a wedding, and a song comes on that everyone likes, and you go up. Nobody ever just walks to the dance floor, do they? They all do that little dance on the way to the dance floor. It's sort of like, and I just thought it'll sound crap now because everyone knows the joke. But when I first heard it, I was just like, that's brilliant observational comedy because everybody does do it. Anyway, Man City's starting to get ahead of steam here now. Newcastle have been okay, but it has sort of the game has sort of fallen into a rhythm now of Man City attacks and Newcastle having to rely on counters. Why you think Liverpool versus Man United is bigger? Because I'm a United fan and I know that most United fans think that Liverpool Man United's bigger. It can't be bigger to everybody else. Look, Arsenal fans aren't going to say Man United, Man City is bigger than Liverpool versus Man United, are they? I'm telling you now, Man United fans think Liverpool's a bigger game. End of conversation. Good run by Foden. Very good run. And a goal. That's a fantastic goal by Foden. I mean, the Newcastle defence has got to do better, but what a goal by Foden that is. That's quality. You can't argue with it. He's picked it up. He's ran past about 4 or 5 Newcastle players who've absolutely shit themselves to not put a tackle in, but it's a cracking goal. I think Pope's got to do better. He's an odd player, Foden. I think he's really talented, but he's not really had a talented season, has he? Lovely ball out by Rodri. Now look at his starting point here. you know what? It's direct.com by Foden, but look at fucking Gordon for you. Get rid of that prat. Peter Reid 1986 vibes against Maradona. The only one who tries to put the tackle in is Botman, and I think it goes in off his foot anyway. That is shit from Gordon. Burn and Gordon there. That is shocking. Absolutely shocking. £45 million for somebody to come and defend your left-hand side. Awful. Awful. Macarena says it's a Messi-like goal. No. It's a wish version. Foden's done well. He's seen the gap and he's ran into it, but he's not had to skin anybody because no one's dared to put a tackle in. Burn's just slow, but Gordon's the cover man, and it's terrible. Good start for Man City though. It's got to be a goal. Oh, what a tackle that is. Who's missed that? Longstaff. What a miss. How's he missed that? They've had 2 chances, Newcastle. Gordon and Longstaff. And they're shooting like they're a corpse. Pineapple should not be on pizza, says Alan Smith. Well, I'll have it. Well, Newcastle have had chances already in the first 15 minutes, but they're so slow. Man City are defending well, though. I'll give them that. Lee Berman says, I love to see Zebra FC getting beat. I can't stand them. Newcastle look good in spells. Attack lets us down, says Darren. Yeah. Well, Gordon threw 1-on-1, tackles himself, and then Longstaff just hit it. He never gets the shot off. He's so slow. Leo J says it was a bit easy for Foden. Foden does well, but the defending's crap from Newcastle. He exploits the pace of Burn, the laziness of Gordon. Gameres is scared of giving the penalty away. So he goes past 3 people who don't want to tackle him, and then Botman's too late. And it actually goes in off Botman. Neng says, I've never had a pineapple on a pizza. Does it taste like an Italian man? I don't know. What's your ideal Chinese order? Says Fat Tony's Mafia. I normally have egg fried rice, prawn crackers, beef chow mein, and I'll have some sweet and sour chicken Cantonese style. The wife likes crispy seaweed, which is not seaweed. It's actually sort of, I think it's like shredded. I think it's shredded cabbage, is it? I don't know. Like fried and stuff. What's your Nando's order? Normally I have is it the butter kissed chicken or something? Looking forward to Talk Sport tonight. What's the topic, says Logan. Yeah, get involved. We'll be on Talk Sport YouTube channel from 7:30 till 9 o'clock, and on National Radio, the Mark Goldbridge Show. Get your calls in. We're dictated to by the calls, really. Obviously, the results today will dictate most of the calls, I suppose. Tottenham lose, you'll probably get Tottenham fans moaning. If Chelsea lose, it'll be Potter out. If Arsenal lose, they'll be out of a title race. Not my opinions. I'm just telling you what'll happen. I suppose look ahead tomorrow, Liverpool, Man United as well. Looking forward to it. It's gone very predictable so far, man. Straightforward Man City win at the moment, but Newcastle can't argue that. I mean, they should have stopped Foden, and they should have had a shot. They should have had a goal themselves. A bit like last week, Newcastle really. I love calzone, Charlie. I've not had one in a while, but I do like them. It's basically a folded up pizza, isn't it? Foden is terrorising Dan Burn. Oh, look at Man City here. They're rampant. They're all over Newcastle. pressing them high up the pitch, and Newcastle's lack of pace at the back is a real problem here. Chicken or lamb Donna? I like them both, Luke, but I probably prefer the chicken. Hello, King Goldbridge. What's your favourite fast food choice? Love you and keep up the good work, says Kirash. Well, let us know in the chat. I've always been quite consistent that my... it depends what week, really. Sometimes I really want a Chinese tonight. I've really got the taste for it. But sometimes I really want Indian takeaway. And occasionally I'll want a pizza. But I won't be wanting fish and chips again, that's for sure. No chance. No chance. That's what you got. I'm finished with fish and chips. I think the problem, the modern phenomenon with fish and chips, that's the problem, right? You get way too much, they give you way too much, and they cut the chips way too thick. So you just end up with stodge. Byrne got skinned by Anthony, he's just physical, says Joshua. And good afternoon from Qatar. Hope you're doing well. How's your FPL? I forgot to change, and I have Saka as captain with Alisson in goal. You might be alright, AMK, unless Saka's not playing. What's your favourite Premier League match, Bull, says Goldie. I don't obsess about Bulls, really. Mark, when do we see your family? Just curious, says Clive. I mean, does every other YouTuber put their family on there for you to have a look at, Clive? I don't have any plans to do that. What do you get at McDonald's, Goldbridge? Fat? I don't know. I mean, I haven't had a McDonald's for ages. I used to like it as a kid, but Big Mac meal, really. I don't find McDonald's inspiring in relation to food. I think you get what you get what you play for with food as well. I mean, I actually quite like going to. There's one or two pubs in our areas that have got really good reputations for food, and I'm happy to go and pay 30 quid for something if it's good quality. Only food, not anything else. I'd never pay for that. Did Pope get a 3-game suspension? No, he didn't. Good point. Got a 1-game suspension, which is odd. Explain that one to us, everyone. No, he did get 3 match, didn't he? No, he did get a 3 match because they played Liverpool. And yeah, he did get a 3-game ban. Mark, what's your pre-workout plan? Says AMK. What's your fish and chips horror story, Mark? 12. Just found it very, very stubby. Very, very. Oh no, he did only miss 1 game. Oh, I don't really understand that. I mean, I suppose, I don't know. Obviously, the rules are the rules, but it was a straight red. You normally get a 3-match ban. We spent virtually nothing in January with Veghorst and Sabitzer, but it looks like we won the transfer window, says Chiri. Thank you very much, mate. Hope you're doing well. Man City are rampant here at the moment. This could turn into a very boring game. Man City make it 2-0, it's over. Newcastle are doing very little here. What's the referee doing? He's got that bag at the start of the game. He's shoved it up his nose and he's now doing this. What's this referee on? He's off his head. Thoughts on Love Island, says Claude. Quirty says, I think Man United broke Newcastle. This ref thinks will think he's really good. Look at me, I can do moves like that. Here's Grealish. Still Grealish. Nice ball into Haaland. Tell you what, Grealish is playing well. You can see why he's getting more game time. Chelsea have never lost a game in March. I guarantee you they have. in their whole history. I guarantee they have. Javid says, wouldn't it have been Liverpool who broke them? No, I think losing that cup final, I think they were really pumped for that. Here's De Bruyne looking at Haaland. Good play by Lascelles. Mark, what jobs have you worked other than the police, says AMK? I'm not going through my CV. I'm watching a game of football. 1 game ban only due to non-being violent, says Escape Artist. Okay. United are going to play in white tomorrow. I like the white kits, that's fine. Here's Grealish into De Bruyne. He's got lots of time. Good block. Yes, you feel the second goal's coming for Newcastle here. For Man City. They're just in the groove at the moment. Before Just Eat and McDonald's delivery, fish and chips was the best takeaway of choice, but with so much competition, I agree with their going downhill, says Logan. Who thought we'd be talking about fish and chips? It's just how entertaining Man City are, isn't it? What's your favourite animal? What's your favourite colour? You know, we're watching Man City. They're just dull. I'm not saying they're not good, but there's just nothing endearing about them. They're just so dull. And as I said, since the Chargers, everybody's just like, what's the value in Man City? If they have cheated, we're just waiting how many years for them to get done. I found them boring before. Now I just find them completely credibility lacking. What's the best commercial coffee shop? Says shh. I'm not jealous of City. Why would I be jealous of City, Stevie? I don't think anyone's jealous of City. I think they're annoying. I don't think anyone's jealous of them. What's to be jealous of? They've got no bloody history. I mean, I wouldn't swap who I support for anybody, but here we go. De Bruyne. Where's Haaland's run? Goes to Foden. Goes for a shot. And Pope. That Dan Burn is so slow, isn't he? Well, if they lose Guimaraes, maybe Guimaraes just doesn't fancy this today. If he goes off, it's over. Here we go. Who let the kids out? Callum Robinson. City are better than Manchester United have ever been. Really? Fair play for you typing it. Man City are better than Man United have ever been. Get your City pyjamas off, have a wash, and clear your head. Who would win in a race between Dan Burn and Harry Maguire? I think Maguire wins that, Liam. That's how slow Dan Burn is. I think Maguire wins that. It's all slipping away for Newcastle, says Aspect. I do think that my main concern for Arsenal, if they want to win the league, is Man City's run-in is pretty good. Look, we know about Man City, of course we do, but if you look at their run-in, where are they going to drop points? This is a game you would hope they would drop points. Palace away next Saturday. I don't think Palace are good enough. I don't think they score enough. Burnley is the FA Cup, so forget that. They got Liverpool at home. Again, I think they'd find a way. Southampton away, piece of piss. Leicester at home, piece of piss. Brighton away, maybe. And then it's Arsenal at home. Fulham away, maybe. Leeds at home, piece of piss. Everton away, piece of piss. Chelsea at home, piece of piss. Brentford away, maybe. You need them to drop some points. You can't be relying on beating them at the Etihad. You need Man City to drop points. And the danger with Man City is they're just capable of going and winning 10 games in a row. Speak to Liverpool fans. JK says, Chelsea top 4 still on? You've got no chance, mate. Here's Grealish. But I look at this Newcastle side and I'd ask you the question in the chat, where do you think they need to improve? Because I think they've had a really good season under Eddie Howe, and maybe top four was just never realistic. Nobody was putting Arsenal for the title and no one was putting Newcastle top four, to be fair. So there's not an expectation that Newcastle get top four. But where do they need to improve? Where do they need to improve? I think they need a midfielder, definitely. They need a left back. I agree with N. They need a left back. They need a really good midfielder. They probably need another really good winger, to be honest. I mean, I can't believe the money they've spent on Gordon. I'd have kept that 40 million in my pocket and waited till the summer, because I think he's going to be baggage, really. I can't see him. It's going to take a lot of work from Eddie Howe to turn him into a player that's good enough to play in a top four side. But yeah, definitely another midfielder, definitely a left back, probably another centre back, and they need some squad depth, don't they, Newcastle? You look at their bench. Would you rather watch Dyche ball or eat fish and chips, says Ian? I'd rather watch Dyche ball than fish and chips. Gravel and chips. Giant Yorkshire pudding with gravy, veg and beef in it. That's a win, Lee. That's a win. That is a win. That's 3 points for Lee. Jane says, fish and bricks. Yeah, I don't eat fish and chips. I go down to the local fish and chip shop and I'll say to Dave who runs it, I'll say, give us a portion of your chips, Dave, and I've got a brick from the building site, fish and bricks with plenty of salt and vinegar. That'll do me, because if you really chomp down on a brick, it will turn to gravel. Fish and bricks for the win. Loads of vinegar. Wash it down with some oil. I'm not talking about olive. I'm talking about engine oil. That's a dream night for me. Here we go, De Bruyne. They're steaming forward here. The cross is not good enough, but it'll come back to them. Callum Wilson's done well to win that, but Newcastle can't get out here. Look at the press here from Man City, and they've won it back with Rodri. I don't think Newcastle are going to get to half-time 1-0 here. Firmino to Newcastle, I don't think that's the right sort of signing for Newcastle if they want to progress, to be honest. I don't think you have the money that they've got and then start picking up players from, rivals who are looking to offload players. Is Haaland one-dimensional, says John? Yes, but it's a pretty good one dimension. Here we go, De Bruyne, good cross. Haaland's going to win that. Oh, I tell you what, that would have been very good clip content. He's got above Botman. He's won the header. Lovely cross by De Bruyne. Trippier should close him down a lot quicker than that. And then, Haaland there. You'd have fancied him to score. When he's won that header, you'd fancy him to score. Heads it down just wide. Wonderful cross by De Bruyne. Well up by Haaland. Trippier's got to close that down a lot quicker. There's no urgency in this Newcastle side. If I'm a Newcastle fan, I'm saying we've had a week off. We didn't play midweek. Where's the urgency from these lads? Yeah, we lost the final, but come on. We've still got top four to play for. We're playing like we played the cup final yesterday. Sig Rich says, "Can Newcastle get top four?" I did a video yesterday. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they've lost something. Newcastle in last few weeks. They've lost that. They've lost that drive, belief, whatever you want to call it. Potter sack if lose today. Says Isaac. Yeah, I mean, look, I want Potter to do well, and I think you will win today, but yeah, you can't lose to Southampton and Leeds at home and expect to keep your job, and then it would be 3 losses in a row, wouldn't it? It's, you know, he does need time. He does need a pre-season. I do think he can be the right man, but sometimes results will cost you that. Have you tried the new Heinz Beans pizza just out? Ooh, Logan. No, I haven't. Ten minutes to go to half time. The first 10 minutes of this game was actually quite entertaining, but as soon as Man City scored, it's become a real bore fest. You just know that second goal for Man City is going to come. That's why I don't like, you know, somebody said to me, you're going to do Newcastle Man City, and I said, well, I've got to, but I normally refuse Man City watch-alongs. I find them really boring to watch. There's a good ball here. Trippier's made it. Oh my Christ. That's 3 chances. Callum Wilson. Bloody hell. That should be 1-1. You're never going to win if you can't take chances like this. Longstaff, Gordon, Wilson. They've had the 3 best chances of the game. Absolute joke, man. Lasagna, shepherd's pie, Chinese, spag bol. Which one? I love lasagna, Andrew. Get Isaac on, says Wilson. SZK, sorry. We need a goal. We need a conversion on the most attractive United players. I'll start. Martial, says Rican. Conversion? I think you mean conversation. I probably read it wrong. Well, that's not a conversation I can get involved in. I think Haaland is significantly better than Nunez, says Casey. And Pep would leave the Prem check book manager, says Alex Golding. Well, Callum Wilson should be scoring that chance. That's all I'm going to say. It's a lovely ball from Longstaff. He's timed it to perfection. Trippier's done his bit. Callum Wilson, fucking hell. You've just got to connect with that. Look at this. His eye on the ball. Oh, for fuck's sake. It's terrible. Check his bank account. I don't know how he's mishit that. Do enjoy your content, but it's hard to watch as a City fan sometimes, says Luke. Wouldn't say everyone's welcome to That's Football anymore. Luke, look, I haven't got anything against City fans. Look, at the end of the day, there are some genuine ones. But I can't lie. I think the whole point of lovely ball into Haaland. I said Foden's goal was good. You know, you are a very good side. There's no denying that Pep's arguably the best manager in the world. But I can't lie and say I find you entertaining to watch. There's just something about Man City I just do not find interesting to watch. Mark, quickfire question. You can only pick one. De Jong, Bellingham or Caicedo for United in the summer? De Jong, Daniel. Thanks for the super chat. Which United players would make the ugly 11, says Tavis? I don't know. I don't know how you define what's an attractive man. I don't know. I just don't have that in me that. And if you do, then I'm obviously very different. But I don't know what a good-looking man looks like. Apart from this one I'm looking at in the screen here now. What is Anthony Gordon good at? He's never been that impressive to me, says the HPN. Yeah, we've spoken about him. And I don't know. I'm sort of hoping he's going to produce something to shut us up. But I don't know. Do you think Pep or Klopp will ever get to PSG? Go to PSG? I don't think Klopp will go to PSG, Chiri. I mean, he didn't want to go to Man United because he described it as the Disney Channel or Disneyland. I don't think it fits in with Klopp's ideals to go. I know some Liverpool fans were a bit worried if like a Qatar or someone like that bought Liverpool, whether Klopp would actually stay. I think he would. I think he realises. I don't think he likes where football's gone, but I think he realises where it's gone, and I think he knows that I think Klopp would like the opportunity to have what Pep's got in relation to the open checkbook. But I don't think he'd put himself in a situation to go to PSG because of the way that they've run that club. The manager's always the fall guy. There's a lot of decision making that goes... Look, the big reason Klopp wouldn't take the PSG job is because there's a lot of decisions that go on behind the manager's back. Pep might do it. You know, Pep's a little bit more comfortable just going for the money, isn't he? But even then, I don't think Pep would like the lack of control on transfers, etc. And Giannos says, yeah, Klopp's ideals are a bit hypocritical. The day I have to spend 100 million on a player, I'll retire. Spends 100 million on Nunez. Do you think money has ruined the old-fashioned working class game, or will it ever be the same? Says Logan. Look, the game's very different to what it was like. I mean, I remember as a really young kid going to like Old Trafford and Highbury and places like that, and just being massively intimidated, but actually also in awe of it. It was a different place, and there was a lot of bad things about it. You know, it wasn't a family place, let's be honest. But that was almost something separate. That's to do with crowds. You know, I'm all for the way the crowds are now, and you can take your kids and your wife, and it's a better place. But is football a better place? I think money has corrupted the game. Do you think Ten Hag starts Magaluf against Betis? Says Ash G. No. I think he'll start them against Fulham. Do you think money... I've done that one from Logan. Grealish thinks he's on a holiday again. Look, in his Speedos, diving around the pitch. Mark, do you ever get a call from the overlap or shows like that? Says Siri. No. I get asked to go on the Soccer Saturday thing a lot. What's it called? I've been on it before. I can't remember what it's called. I get asked every week to go on that virtually. And the reason I don't do it is because I've got my own stuff to do, and it takes me out for... I have to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning to get to London to do half an hour show, and then not get back till about 2. So it's just I don't do it because of the trek really. But other than that, 43 minutes. We're nearly at half time. Oh, I can't wait for my Chinese later. Oh, I just can't wait. I don't know what to do tonight. Obviously, I've got my Talk Sport show till 9, and then I sort of want to watch a film. I was looking last night. But then again, there's a few other things I want to watch. There's a documentary on Sky called Dublin Narcos, and I lived in Dublin for 3 years, and that sort of thing fascinates me, so I might watch that. Here we go, Newcastle on the attack. Come on, can you miss another sitter? The thing is, Man City have got a vulnerability this season. They're not like last year where you just think they're a bit unbeatable. I think you can get at them, as Newcastle have, but you've got to take your chances. Would you rather play with Robson or Keane, says Alex? You'd be better off choosing which one to have a pint with these days, but if you're talking prime Robson or prime Keane, I'd probably like to play with prime Robson, because I was too young to really appreciate prime Robson. I loved Roy Keane, he was one of my favourite players, but I'm intrigued by Robson because everybody of a certain age tells me Robson was better than Keane. So Robson must have been a bloody genius of a player. Mikey's got his sneak. Thanks, pal. If you are getting sneak, remember to use the code SNEAKBRIDGE. This actually annoys me as a football fan, that I can be unwelcome just because of having money. This is why football fans don't support the takeover, says AMK. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means because, I was talking about this on the United Stand last night. If I was a Liverpool fan or an Arsenal fan or a Spurs fan, I'm a Man United fan, But if I was a fan of any of those clubs, I would want what Man City and Newcastle have got, because otherwise, do you want to spend the next 20 years supporting your club on some moral crusade that gives you nothing? Or do you actually want to see your football club win? You're only here once. The trouble with the moral argument is you're acting like things will get better at some point in your life. We might all be dead in 10 years. You don't know what the future is. Do you want your team to win trophies in that time and have a bit of a good time? Or do you want to go, no, I'd rather not win with super wealth? Like, you can mock Man City and Newcastle, but they're going to win trophies. Man City already have won them. So I don't like the way football's gone, but it is the way football's gone. If you pick one player from the class of 92 for the current team, who would you pick and why? Says Panini. Beckham. Or Scholes. Scholes next to Casemiro would be a joy to behold. But David Beckham's probably one of my favourite players ever. Massively underrated as an actual footballer. Loved David Beckham. I like Giggs, but you have got Rashford, so why have two left wingers? So I think you've got to look at the holes. Gary Neville was a very good right back, but we've got two good right backs, so why would you get another right back? It's not the same question as who's the best player from the class of 92. It's about the question was who would you put in, and for me it would be Beckham or Scholes. I love Connor's answer, Rooney. I hope you're not a United fan, Connor. Learn your history. I mean, not only was Rooney not part of the class of 92, I would imagine Wayne Rooney was about 6 in 92. Half time, Man City, Newcastle. It's 1-0. I mean, they're closing the camera. I mean, this is just how. This is just how football mainstream assesses a game of football. They go straight to Botman because it deflected past him when it went in. But actually, the goal is not on Botman. Botman was the only one who tried to make a bloody tackle as the last man. Burns slow, Gordon's weak, and Gameres is scared of giving a penalty away. So if you're looking at that from a managerial point of view at half time, I'd be looking at that and I'd be saying that's not on Botman. That's on the other three really. Let's have a look at the match stats at half time here. So always like to have a look at this. Don't forget you can download the One Football app through the link in the description or by using the QR code in the top right hand corner. They're sponsoring our live stats carousel, and you can get all your latest breaking football news and transfer news on there. Also, they individualise the player ratings, so if you want to see how many successful runs or passes Foden's made, etc., check it out on the One Football app. Download it for free. It's available on Apple and Android. So look, I mean, realistically, you look at that and you go, yeah, Man City deserve to be 1-0 up, but I think they've been a bit lucky. Gordon probably doesn't score that chance, but he doesn't need to tackle himself. Longstaff should have scored that chance. Can't get the shot off. He's so slow. And Callum Wilson, that's shocking. I mean, there's National League strikers, not even in the matchday squad today, saying I would have finished that. That's how crap that finish was from Callum Wilson. He's got to score it. And I know people scuff it. And I almost feel like, you know, I need to do videos myself of trying to finish these chances. But I'm not paid to do that. He's an England striker. He should have scored that. And that's the difference. When you're against teams like Man City, if you miss those sitters, you will lose. So look, that, as I say, I've just shouted out 3 massive chances there for Newcastle that were, you know, very, very, very visible. From Man City's point of view, the goal was preventable, but fair play to Foden. And then there was a chance for Gundogan where he couldn't head it down. Newcastle have had the best chances. I think Man City are lucky to be 1-0 up because I think a competent team would at least be 1-1. But statistically, since that first goal's gone in, 56% possession for Man City is not actually that high. If I'm Eddie Howe, I'm looking at that and I'm going, look, they've only got 56% possession. Yes, they've had 6 shots, but they've only had 1 on target. We've had none on target. We should have had 3. We've had roughly the same corners. I mean, Newcastle are still very much in this game. And this is what I mean about Man City this year. I've been saying it all season. Man City are vulnerable and going through transition. Credit to Man City. In their transition, Pep's done it so well that he's not fell off like Liverpool have. They are still going through transition. They're not as good as they were last year. And they are vulnerable. But they still find a way of grinding out the results. And that they probably still could win the league. But they are vulnerable. Like, there's no excuse for Newcastle not to be at least level at half-time, other than poor finishing and crap defending. They should have stopped the Foden run, and they should have scored some goals. So what they do in the second half, Newcastle, well, look, I feel that the Man City second goal is going to come at some point and kill the game. But if Newcastle want to be in a top 4 race, you can't be the Newcastle of old that goes, oh, well, we've just won the tried hard trophy. Look, Spurs are playing today. If you lose and Spurs win, you're 7 points off the top 4. And you've still only got 2 games in hand. So it's not good. It's not good. And that top 4 place is starting to slip away from them. So they've got to go out there. If I had one criticism of Newcastle in that half, concentration. You know, even the header from Haaland, which was half a chance, Trippier doesn't close the De Bruyne down quick enough. They've had a week, basically, since the final, and they still look like they're influenced by that final. Would you rather win the Carabao Cup as a Newcastle fan or be in the Champions League? Because if you get in Champions League, you'll win better things than the Carabao Cup sooner anyway. That Champions League spot, surely, is always going to be Newcastle's priority. Second half, they've got to come out and try and get something. Because I tell you what, if they can get a point in this game, that'll be like a win anyway. And then you take that into the rest of the season. So I expect to see more from Newcastle in the second half. Man City are not out of sight yet. And I think there's more to do. Mark, what are you going to play FIFA 23 again? On Monday. I play it weekdays. Newcastle doesn't belong in the Champions League, says Felix. I guarantee you they're going to be in the Champions League at some point in the next couple of years. Mark, please get it right. David Beckham never played in the 92 team, says Vendetta. Does someone want to tell him? I ain't wasting my time on that shit. Would any Newcastle player get into the Man United first 11, says John Page? Idiots will say Nick Pope. Callum Wilson might. You know, to be fair, I like Weghorst, but to be honest, Callum Wilson might. Bruno Guimaraes might get in next to Casemiro, to be fair. Trippier's not better than our right backs. Dan Burn, forget about it. Their centre backs, no way. So yeah, I'd probably say Guimaraes and Callum Wilson would have a chance. Almiron's fell off a little bit. Almiron at one point would have done. I mean, what's happened to Almiron? What has happened to Almiron? Yeah, really, really good player. He sort of fell off. Lots of people saying Trippier's way better. Oh, bog off. I mean, Trippier's a decent right back, but trust me, he's not. He ain't getting in a Chelsea team. He ain't getting in a United team. He ain't getting in a Liverpool team. He ain't getting in a Man City team. He's decent, but he ain't as good as people think. I mean, De Bruyne, defensively, he's got to close him down quicker. I don't think Trippier's better than what we've got. I never have. I didn't want him at United. I think he's a really good player for Newcastle, but I think he's a decent right back. I don't think much better than that. Right. We're talking about right now, aren't we? No way. I'm not taking Trippier over Wan-Bissaka at the moment. Wan-Bissaka's unbelievable at the moment. I'm sorry. We're talking about right here, right now. We're not talking about the last season. The question was, who would get in the Man United side right now? Well, you don't watch Man United if you don't think Wan-Bissaka's better than Trippier. Right now, I don't think Trippier's playing well at the moment. I don't understand why people ask these questions and then lose their shit. You ask me which Newcastle players get in a Man United side right now. I don't think Trippier's playing very well at the moment. I don't think he's played well today. I don't think he played well last week. I know Wan-Bissaka is. Botman ain't better than bloody Harry Maguire in my opinion. No, he is. But look, I like Botman, but if you think Botman gets in over Martinez and Varane, I don't think football's for you. I think you need to take up some other sport. Like, Just because Botman's a good centre-back doesn't mean he's better than Varane or Martinez, and he quite simply isn't. There ain't no way. They're the best two centre-backs in the league for me. I'll have that conversation with anybody. I agree with Joe. He says Trippier at his best would be better than Dalot and Wan-Bissaka, but we're talking right here, right now, and his levels have dropped. The whole Newcastle team's levels have dropped. That's their problem. For some reason, I don't know why, but Newcastle's levels have dropped as a team. Everybody has fell off. Gomes has fell off. Almiron's fell off. Wilson's fell off. Trippier's fell off. Botman's fell off. They're all, Burn has fell off. They've all fell off for some reason, and I don't really. Joel Linton's fell off. I don't know why they fell off. And I think losing the cup final is a big thing, but I think any Newcastle fan would tell you as well. The results before that weren't that great. They've sort of fell off. They sort of fell off since Christmas, really, gradually. I think that's a good... They were overachieving, says Certi. I think that's a good question. Why have Newcastle fell off? And the standards they set were superb, by the way. I don't think they've underachieved. That's very different. I still think they're overachieving, but from where they were up to Christmas and where they are now, they're not the same team. I think the player that reflects it the most is Almiron. Like Almiron, September, October was unbelievable. I mean, Grealish, funnily enough, took the piss out of him, didn't he? And Almiron was taking the piss out of Grealish the first few months of the season. Right now, Grealish has come through and Almiron's dropped off. Maybe it's tiredness. Rag says maybe they lack experience. Gerard says they don't have a big bench. I think these things are all true. And I think most Newcastle fans are very happy with the season that they've had. Cup final, in a top 4 race. If they get top 6, I think they'll be very, very happy. European football next season would be big for them. They've got the money. Newcastle are on an upward trajectory. At some point, Eddie Howe's getting the sack, by the way. There's a hot take for you. At some point, Eddie Howe gets sacked in the next 2 years. Come back to this. 100%. Eddie Howe gets sacked in the next 2 years. That's what happens at these clubs. It happened at Man City. It happened at Chelsea. It's all smiley. It's all part of a plan, and we're all behind Eddie. But I'm telling you now, I said it when they got him. He is on borrowed time, 100%. As soon as they start getting into Europe, and there will be an expectation. When you're owned by people like that who want success and they want it yesterday, if Eddie Howe doesn't deliver Champions League football and title races in the next 2 years, they'll go for somebody who does, because that's what those clubs do. Man City, a prime example. The managers they went through, and then suddenly Pep's available, and it's like manoeuvre. We need to get him, and I think that's what will happen. And I wouldn't go as far as Chids, who says that Eddie Howe is a glorified caretaker manager. Dominic says he's a stopgap. I think he's done a good job. I think he's done a very good job. But you tell me, in 2 years' time, when the next Ten Hag becomes available, do you think Newcastle will just go, nah, we're not getting involved in that, we've got Eddie Howe? They won't. In 2 years' time, you'll know where you are with Eddie Howe, and maybe he's a manager that can fight for fourth. If he can't fight for the title, and I don't think he can, he's a man for the now. We've seen it with Chelsea. We've seen it with Man City. These rich clubs, when they first get their money, there's almost a blueprint for it, and it is Man City. You get a certain manager in to start building it. They hit the ceiling. You get another manager in for the next level. They hit a ceiling, and then you settle on someone like Pep. That's what will happen. And look at Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea did it. Chelsea were more ruthless than Man City. I mean, how many managers have Chelsea had? I forget. Conte, Sarri, Lampard, Tuchel, Mourinho, Ancelotti, what was his name? Di Matteo, Mourinho. I'm sure there's someone I'm completely forgetting about. Benitez. I mean, they've had so many. I'd love to see Howe as England manager. Yeah, I would as well. 49 right. I think he's a good manager. Eddie Howe will end up with a good, he'll end up with a VS Boas as well. Ranieri, but that was before, really. Avram Grant, that was 2008, yeah. So I thought people were saying Villa boss. I'm like, Emery's not managed him. They're saying VS Boas. Yeah, look, if you think Eddie Howe's going to be the Newcastle manager in 3 years, you're massively naive. But that's just what happens. That's progress. That's what it is. That's what Man United and Liverpool and Arsenal and Spurs are up against. You're up against these organisations like Newcastle and Man City who will never rest on their laurels. They're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And if you can't compete with that, you ain't going to compete with that. Trap says, we're going to beat you tomorrow, Mark. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'll be live on the United stand for it, of course. And I'm massively looking forward to it. It's one of the big games of the season I look forward to. Man United at Anfield. It's a tough place to go. In recent years, it's been pretty much a nailed-on loss. But George Nichols says Liverpool for top 4. Well, look at the league table, mate. If Liverpool win tomorrow and Newcastle lose today, that's Liverpool basically caught Newcastle. Spurs are Spurs. Look, I've got a couple of bets going on, charity bets, but ones with Ben Foster, and I've always said I think that Liverpool will get top 4 when everyone's written them off. I think that they will get top 4 because I think they've got that capability of at some point I think they're just going to click into gear and just go and win 5 games in a row, and nobody else can really do that. Some people are talking about a bid for Manchester United for $5 billion. Let's have a look. I can't see anybody credibly talking about it, but I'll have a look. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, the second half's about to kick off here. Newcastle just need to stay in this game. I think if they can score, they've got a chance. But I feel that Man City are just going to... I think Newcastle have missed too many chances for a game of this magnitude that they'll get punished. They've already been punished once. If Man City get the second goal, I think it will be game over. But there's still time. I just read there from Miguel Delaney that the Glazers keeping Man United is better than being taken over by Qatar by a considerable distance, and that's fully in the context of how bad the Glazers have been. That's how you express an opinion, I suppose. Anyway, second half is up and running here. No changes yet for either side. Can Newcastle get back into this game? Oh, apparently Manchester... Oh, here we go. So it's from Bloomberg, who are saying that Sheikh Jassim's bid for Manchester United was $5 billion, not $4.5 billion, as reported earlier. So that's a big bid, £5 billion. Right, let's get back. There ain't no way that Radcliffe's going above that. I agree with the chat there. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. I don't know what we're on for subscribers. 916,000. We're on the road to 1 million anyway. Please do subscribe. Bottom right hand corner. We could hit it in 2023 because I think a year ago we were on about 700 and something. So bottom right hand corner to subscribe. Get involved with the channel. my next watch along on we do daily content anyway. I'll definitely do a little 10-minute video at about 5 o'clock reacting to a couple of the 3 o'clocks anyway. But there's daily content on here to get involved in, and we've got some exciting new content coming up as well. I think the next watch along I'm going to do is actually look at Grealish, trampoline toes, just jumps to the ground. I could actually might buy Man United though, says Damon Targaryen. There's a game on Tuesday night I'm doing. Dortmund against Chelsea at 8 o'clock. The Champions League is back. Are you going to watch Arsenal Bournemouth? No, because you'll win that. I like to watch games that's got a little bit, unless it's United. I only really do watch-alongs on this channel of games that have got something on it. Arsenal Bournemouth should be a nice straightforward win for Arsenal. I mean, look, they'll be praying Newcastle can get back into this, because let's be honest, Arsenal are going to beat Bournemouth today, unless something seriously goes wrong. And if Newcastle can just make Man City drop 2 points, I agree with Jay. Arsenal are going to win 3 or 4-0. Get that Gordon off. He's rubbish. Botman is the best centre-back in the Prem. Own goals in a cup final, says Bance. Gavin Jameson says Ramos from Benfica is the striker. Well, look, he's a player that a lot of people are looking at. But Benfica will want good money. Today this could be the greatest day of our lives. Rest in peace, Tom Sizemore, Christopher. Yeah, that song sort of didn't go with that, did it? But it wasn't. I sang the song and then saw that. I will do some keep ups, Wes, but I have already done 100 live, so I'm done that. No, rest in peace to Tom Sizemore. If you know, you know. I think he was in Saving Private Ryan and other films, but Heat, for me, is one of my favourite films of all time. And Michael in Heat was Tom Sizemore. Or was he Michael? I think he was Michael. But, yeah. Fantastic film. Nunez next season will outscore Haaland, says Callum. I like Nunez. I don't know whether he'll outscore Haaland, though, because Haaland gets a lot of chances in a Man City shirt. Lawrence has captained Martinelli over Haaland this week. Could pay off. I think it's a good idea, mate. I think if there's one game where... Well, there's not one. There's quite a few. Man United, Spurs, Newcastle. They're probably games where Haaland's not going to get a hat-trick. Just because of how well those teams defend. Newcastle, you know what? I've got to say, Newcastle, I wouldn't say they deserve anything, but they're in this game. They've just got to be better. I feel that the chances they missed in the first half were probably the best. You know, they probably ruined their chances today, but they're still 1-0. Just hang in there. Reuben says, I need Sneak to get through this snooze fest. Marcus is captain Watkins versus Palace. I don't think there'll be many goals in that. 1-0 probably. Harshit's going to meet his girlfriend in an hour. Any tips, Mr. Goldbridge? Make eye contact. Act like you're interested in what they're talking about. If it's really boring, just start thinking about football. Like what you'd do tomorrow, what team you'd pick. Just nod your head, make eye contact. You never know, you might get lucky. They might have something interesting to say, but if they don't, they'll love that. Oh, he listens to me. They love that. Make sure you pay. Don't get trapped in any of this equal rights crap. You pay for the bill. That's what you do. If they run over to the waiter and pay for it, you can't do anything about it. But make sure you pay. And if they go, oh, everyone will always go, oh no, let's go halves. Go, no, I insist. That's 2 really good tips. Third tip. Don't talk about sex. Don't start talking about anything like that. They'll think you're a weirdo. That'll happen. Let nature take its course with that. There'll be plenty of time to talk about that in the future. It doesn't need to come out in a first date. And then the 4th tip will be your tip if you get it right. I stole that from the chat. Based Bridge says the Inquisition. I think you've missed the I. Manchester United says don't act over Keane. Oh yeah, I was brilliant at that. Oh, it's already his girlfriend. Oh right, okay. I thought it was a date. You don't need any tips if it's your girlfriend. Come on, Newcastle, score a goal. Oh, I'll hate this if Man City just win this 1-0, it would be such a wasted opportunity. I think I'd rather they go and win it 3 or 4-0 than just 1-0. It just sort of like lures you in that it could be a draw. It could be a draw. Mark, tips on actually getting a girlfriend. Wash regularly. Hygiene's an important thing. I see Elmer on there. He's in behind Aki. Ladios says tips to stop girls from cheating on me. Oh, chasing me. All right, okay. Well, none of us. That didn't happen, did it? Those dating tips were quite nice. Could be a new YouTube series. Touching tips with Goldbridge, says Luke Jones. Yeah, I don't like the name of that. Newcastle's corner wasted. Oh, another bad pass. Qatar was a 5 billion bid, yeah. Play on. No, just play on. Newcastle are a fucking idiot ref. Come back for a handball, but there's 5 new Man City players out of position. It's better for Newcastle to play on. Mark, I remember a few years back you did a documentary on the Peaky Blinders, and you're planning on making any more. This is bad. I enjoyed doing that, but I'm not planning on doing any more. I'm going to have a stretch, Brian, you're right. Just saw Kevin Phillips warming up. Calvin Phillips, sorry. God, what a stupid move that was. Fergie kept Robson into his mid-30s, tells you everything, says Kenneth. And I'm a Spurs fan and somehow I have a girlfriend, says Liam. Well, no, the reason you've got a girlfriend if you're a Spurs fan is you get a lot of time to take them out on a Saturday, don't you, when it's like cup weekends and stuff. You're always available. Actually, being a Spurs fan is probably good for your relationship. Being a Man United fan at the moment, it's tough. You're playing every 3.5 days, every weekend, you know. Newcastle not really making anything here. I'll tell you what, I think that'll be a boring game this afternoon. Wolves Spurs, bloody hell. If ever there's a 1-0 or 0-0 or 1-1, that's it, isn't it? Probably 4-4 now. Be nice if it was 4-4. Here's Almiron. Goes wide. Gordon. He's so bad. He's so bad. Poor guy's just been dumped, says Logan. Who do you think has been the flop of the season so far, says Bart. Mark, your abs look incredible, says Marcus. Thanks, mate. I don't work on them at all. Well, I only work on them by putting things in my mouth. Drink, food, nothing else. Flop of the season, let us know in the chat. I mean, you've got to put... I agree with Marsha. Richarlison's got to be a consideration. It's way too early, that racing guy, to say Mudrick. I don't think you can say anybody in January yet. It's way too early. It's unfair to say anyone from January. They've only had a month. Yeah, you've got to look at people from the summer. Spence at Chelsea. Aubameyang, says Awoken. There's a few. Calvin Phillips, yeah. Koulibaly. Calvin Phillips has got to be flop of the season. Richarlison's actually scored goals. Like, Basuma's not a bad shout as well. There's a few. I mean, look, there's a few coming in. Cucurella, Koulibaly, Sterling, Richarlison. There are quite a few, but I think it's got to be Calvin Phillips because he cost 60 million quid. He was an England regular. And his manager called him fat. Connor, thank you very much for your super chat. I think it's too early for Nunez. I don't think Nunez has been that bad. Look, there's a few you could say they've not had a great start, but you can't put Nunez in the same category as a Calvin Phillips. I mean, he cost 60 million quid. I don't know how many minutes he's had. And DJ says he was actually only bought for homegrown quota anyway. Fofana. Chelsea bought a few, haven't they? I mean, nearly every Chelsea signing's a flop that Tuchel had. Fofana, Cucurella, Sterling, Aubameyang. I mean, that's a terrible hit rate, isn't it? Still half an hour to go here. Just got my first pro coaching job. Your videos and Watchalong helped me through the grind, says Mike. Well done, mate. Great to hear it. Here's to your future. Mr. Potato is expecting more goals. Yeah, you're not the only one, mate. Although Newcastle have really struggled to score goals recently. Not scored in their last 2.5 games. Didn't score against Liverpool, didn't score against Man United, and haven't scored here. In love with my female best friend of 6 years, and I have a girlfriend. Any advice? Says Tenbridge. Whoa, I'm not advising on that. Who would you rather sign, Osman or De Jong? Says Lath. We need both. Right, triple substitution here for Newcastle. Goldbridge can have a quick piss. Isaac, St Maximin, and Willock. Stay close to me. Hold on, stay close to me. Watch the world come alive tonight. I'm back. If Nunez is a flop, then Anthony is. Who do you think will go down this year, and who do you think will get top 4? Says Mushy. Here's St Maximin. No, it doesn't do well there. So good 3 subs here for Newcastle. Isaac, St Maximin and Willock gives them a little bit of pace and directness, which I think they're desperately in need of here. I don't think Man City have played that well. I mean, I think the goal was preventable. And I think Newcastle have got a push here now. They need something. Here's Isaac. Edison does well. Corner. Newcastle pushing a bit more now. How's the game, Mark? It's getting a little bit better. I think Newcastle deserves something out of it. I mean, Man City have defended better than they've attacked. Oh, I've just missed the Joel Linton chance when I was having a piss. Bloody hell! That's 4 big chances they've missed today, Newcastle. You can't say fairer than that. They'd be 3 up. Richarlison is the flop of the season. Gunners get flap, and rightly so for Pepe, but Richarlison has no goals and Spurs get a pass. I thought they won the summer transfer window, says Cameron. He has got goals. I've seen Richarlison score goals. He scored a bloody hat-trick, didn't he? He's got no goals in the Premier League. Okay. Thank you. Without a doubt, the flop of the season. Oh, look at the pace of Isaac here. I'm going to go with... Oh, lovely play by Isaac. Little cross to the back post. St Maximin. Oh, they're pushing Newcastle. They are pushing. Isaac's making things happen. There's plenty of times to go. My flop of the season is Calvin Phillips. I don't know how anybody... There are a few good candidates, but I don't know how you can't go with Calvin Phillips. He's quite clearly flop of the season. But Man City have been poor today. He's brought Bernardo Silva on, who I think's arguably their best player anyway, after De Bruyne, creativity-wise. Oh, see Trippier there. Fucking rubbish. If Man City score here, it's because of Trippier. There you go. Fucking Bernardo Silva with the goal. What did I say at half time? Oh, Trippier's world class. This cost you a fucking goal. Been shit. Absolute shit for you, Newcastle. Trippier today. Shit last week. Best right back in the league. Yeah, back in the autumn. It's just so frustrating because Newcastle have basically gifted Man City 3 points here. There ain't no way. They've been the better team. They've been the better team and they've lost 2-0. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Man City have been very lucky today, and their fans will know it. They've been very lucky today. They've done what you do when you're trying to win a league. Win when you're playing badly. And you can tell by Pep's reaction and the players' reaction, they know how important that goal is. And that'll be it, I think, now. 2-0. But I agree with what Lesnide says. Newcastle are not ready for prime time. This is the difference between being where Newcastle are at the moment and where you want to go. Is that actually you've had the chances in this game? I think Newcastle have been the better team. Maybe not by a lot, but I think they have been the better team. They've definitely had the better chances, and yet they're losing 2-0. It's game management. Here's Grealish. And it could end up being like 3 or 4 now. Bernardo Silva is such a good player, though. Bernardo Silva makes such a difference. Rajveer says Pep is a true mastermind. Bernardo super sub. Wow. You can't do anything about it. It's Newcastle. Could you say back? No, Connor, I don't think that's true. I think it sounds like something rude. Red says City are winning the league. I think. Look, if you're Arsenal, you're disappointed because you're hoping that Man City are going to drop points in this game. But Newcastle don't have any responsibility to Arsenal or anybody else. They have a responsibility to themselves. They shouldn't have lost this game. Fair play to Man City. They've won it in circumstances where, 2-0 is probably not a fair reflection of the chances, but Man City have been clinical and they could probably go and win it 3 or 4-0 now. 3 or 4-0 now. The problem Arsenal have got is where are Man City going to drop points when they're winning games like this? Shub says, do you think Newcastle will go for a big name manager in the future? Yeah, 100%. Eddie Howe was always only going to be there for 2 or 3 years, and then they'll you can't, when Newcastle are in a relegation battle, you can't go and get Erik ten Hag or Nagelsmann or someone like that. If you can get Newcastle into the top 4, you will go and get managers like that, and that's Newcastle will have a plan. I guarantee there's a memo somewhere for Newcastle of how they're going to get to be where Man City are now, and it will be like that. Everton against Forest is a big game. Isaac should have started over Wilson. Wilson is mid, says Chris. Well, I think there's a lot of players for Newcastle that have, and we were talking about it at half time. There's a lot of players for Newcastle that are that have fell off. Look at Haaland. Oh, come on, Haaland. I mean, that's a bit too much of a try-hard, that is. That's a bit too much try-hard from Haaland. You want Sam? He's like the Wealdstone Raider. Yeah, Wilson's fell off. Trippier's fell off. Almiron's fell off. I don't know what's going on with Newcastle. Maybe it's just maybe it's just tiredness. Maybe they were playing above their level. Yellow card for Haaland and a yellow card for Burn. Let's have a look. I think Grealish kicked out of him, didn't he? Pretty sure Grealish kicked out at him there. Eddie Howe is the equivalent of Mancini if the development cycle. Newcastle maybe even one manager before that. Gascoigne says Burns should have been off as he grabbed Haaland's collar. I mean, look, they don't seem to have gone back, but I'm pretty sure Grealish kicks out, and that's why Dan Burn gets angry. But we've not even seen it. Etihad's very quiet. That's not my words, that's someone in the chat. It's very quiet for me because I don't have the audio on. Shane says, where's the Newcastle that came to Arsenal? You know what? I think if you've watched this game, and most of us have, it's not been a standard Man City 2-0 win. It's actually... I think Newcastle have been architects of their own downfall. They've had massive chances to score at least 2, and both the goals were preventable. Trippier on the second one causes it, and Foden's goal, just bad defending as well. Great run by Foden. You've got to be direct, but I mean, look at this from Bruno Guimaraes. I mean, just so many Newcastle players are just a shadow of their former selves. Bruno Guimaraes, I wouldn't put him in a... No way is he getting in the Premier League team of the season now. On the last... Since Christmas, no way. Before Christmas, 100%. Almiron, a lot of people were putting him in their Premier League team of the season. No, not anymore. Trippier, I don't think so anymore. You know, you don't stay in a Premier League team of the season just because you did well in the first 3 months. And he's subbed off Almiron now. Yeah, Saka takes Almiron's place. I think, you know, obviously, I think in the midfield, you've got Casemiro, you've got Rodri, you've got Partey, you've got Xhaka. You know, but Guimaraes is out. You know, he's not there anymore. Fatigue is killing them, says Prince. Yeah, but you know the thing is, I don't know. I don't buy that. And it might be a controversial take again, but I don't buy fatigue as an excuse for Newcastle. They're not in Europe. Spurs, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, we've all been in Europe. They've not been in Europe. They've had numerous weeks off since August. You think about all those 6 weeks where everyone was playing in the Europa League and in the Champions League. Newcastle didn't. I don't know whether it's fatigue or it's expectation that's sort of played in their head. You know, they just seem to... The World Cup really has stopped Newcastle's momentum. And we spoke about that, didn't we? We spoke about this back in October. We said, look, if you're playing well before the World Cup, that World Cup is basically like end of a season. So maybe that was Newcastle's problem. They just couldn't get back into the rhythm after the World Cup. They've drawn a lot of games and they're hard to beat, but Combined starting 11 for versus PSG and then versus Real Madrid, says Andrew Appleby. And Mark, it's great that I can buy Super Chats with Google Play credits earned by completing Google surveys, says Vincent. I didn't know you could do that. Well done, Vincent. Why are so many Newcastle fans annoyed by your Trippier post on Twitter? It's a Saturday afternoon, says LB. I don't know. They don't like. Newcastle fans are quite nasty, actually. I've noticed that after last week. Don't know. I haven't actually said anything bad about Newcastle. I've always been quite complimentary, but they're quite vile people, actually. Newcastle fans. You know, everyone goes, "Oh, how good fun they are," and you know what a credit they are. They're actually quite nasty. I've seen it to a lot of other people as well. They're quite nasty on social media, Newcastle fans. Hope you have a good day ahead, Mark, says Farhan. Jay Gascoigne says they've always been nasty. I don't know. I've never really had any interaction with them, but yeah. And it's not just against me. I've seen them going on United fans all week. It's not nice stuff, really. If you want to mix it with the big boys, you better get used to it. You know, Chelsea fans have had people calling Timo Werner, all sorts. You know, we have it at United. Man City get it. Arsenal get it. Liverpool get it. Their fans need to wise up and realise if you come into the top table, you're gonna get bantered. It's the way it goes. You know, if you want to be a big club, get rid of your small club mentality. Do you think Haaland will stay at City after financial fair play, says Sam? I don't know what's going to happen with that, Sam. Swelly says that Jack Grealish better than Saka. No. Grealish is doing a lot better. And it's good to see him playing regularly for Man City, but no. Saka's fantastic this season. $100 charges, Andre, is what Man City face on fair play allegations from the FA, but it could take years. Yeah, don't forget I'm on TalkSport tonight. Don't want any Newcastle fans ringing up, thanks. 7:30 till 9 o'clock. And I do know loads of Newcastle fans who are absolutely sound. I grew up with a lot of Newcastle fans because where I lived was close to a pit. I can't remember what they call it now. Coal mining. They don't do it anymore, but there used to be a lot of coal mining places in and around where I lived, and I don't know why. There was a lot of Geordies who lived and who did that work. So very passionate. You don't get many Geordies who start supporting Man City or United or Arsenal. That doesn't happen. They're very, very what's the word? They're Geordies, aren't they? They tend to support Newcastle. So yeah, I know a lot of Newcastle fans growing up. I tell you when Newcastle were a likeable team, even though we beat them, and I wanted to beat them, was the Keegan Newcastle side. Loved that. Played good football. Harrison says it's been a poor game in terms of quality. Man City have not played well, 100%. I think there are teams that would beat Man City. I think United would have beat Man City today. Arsenal would have beat Man City today. Maybe even Liverpool would have beat them today. Unfortunately, Newcastle haven't. I think Man City remind me a bit today of how they played against Spurs. Just not really at the races, but they've done enough, and Spurs did beat them. If Man City were playing like this away from home, I think they would have been beat. Newcastle could have got a draw today, easily. I think it's a bit of a leap to say they could have won it because they're losing 2-0, but they could have got a draw. They've had big chances in this game, and I think that Newcastle's poor quality in the finishing it's got to be really disappointing, and it's coming at exactly the wrong time for them as well. You know, you need to be taking those chances. If Spurs win at Wolves today, that gap's going to be 7 points, and you've only got 2 games in hand. You can't catch them with the games in hand, so the momentum is gone. But I find that interesting. That's a reflection of how Man City haven't been at their best, and Newcastle had an opportunity. Man City have had 10 shots. I don't really know where them shots are because only 2 of them have been on target. Newcastle have had 4 shots. I think a couple of them, they didn't even take the shots. Like, I can think of 5 good chances Newcastle have had, so one of them wasn't even a shot, was it? That Callum Wilson one, that Gordon one, that Longstaff one. You know, the finishing's been so bad, they didn't even convert easy chances into shots. But possession-wise, 57% for Man City just shows that something about Man City at the moment is just not quite right, is it? They may still be good enough to win the league, but they're not dominating games like they used to, because they are going through transition. But they're still a very, very good side with a very, very good manager. And I've seen them do it a few times now. They did it at Stamford Bridge. Didn't play particularly well, made a couple of subs, won the game. ZK says that the Chelsea lineup's a bit of a mess, Mark. Have you seen it? I'm going to have a look now. Kepa, Fofana, Koulibaly, Badiashile. That's all right. Loftus-Cheek at right wing back. Chilwell left wing back. Fernandes and Kovacic. João Felix, Havertz and Sterling. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, Reece James is out again, isn't he? You've got to look at that bench and go, where's Madueke? Mudrik's on the bench. Well, Madueke's on the bench. Ziyech on the bench. Gallagher, Chalobah, Bettinelli. Yeah, he needs to try and find a stable team, because that one thing about the Premier League this year is that there's teams out there that are ridiculously well organised and know what they're doing, and if you're changing your team every game, you're going to struggle. Good save by Pope from Foden. Aubameyang's not on the bench. Yeah, Reece James, real worry. I think he's a fantastic right back. In fact, he's England's best right back, but you know, he's never fit. Never fit. I've noticed some new Newcastle Challenger channels and pages say bad things about you. As a regular viewer of you, Newcastle fan here, you're actually very fair. People just see out of the context clips, unfortunately, says 12th man tune. Look, there's loads of good Newcastle fans out there, and I think you just need to... My advice, and I think any advice from any Arsenal fan, United fan, Chelsea fan, Liverpool fan would be, if you want to mix it with the big boys, you've got to get used to the fact that people are going to banter you. It's called, if you're getting bantered, it means, we've got it with United again. When people are moaning about us, it means you're actually doing well, because people start to get bitter and jealous. But Newcastle fans, some of them don't seem to be able to take it, and you're going to have to start taking it. And I think I have been very fair about Newcastle. Like, I did a video on them yesterday that was very balanced. I think they've already had a very good season. It's a shame that it's falling apart, because I think they could have got top 4. But I don't understand why it's falling apart, because I don't think you can use tiredness when you've not even played in Europe. Big players like Trippier, Gomes, Almiron, Wilson, they've all fell off. They've all fell off at the same time. They're not at the high standards they were. Maybe it was the World Cup. Maybe the World Cup break didn't do Newcastle any favours. I certainly don't think Newcastle were going to win a trophy or get top 4 at the start of the season. So if you can finish 6th, I still think that's a good season. But I won't lie and say that there wasn't an opportunity to get top 4. I think there'll be a lot of people happy that Newcastle aren't going to get top 4, because with the money they've got, if they get top 4, they'll never drop out again. So another year with Newcastle not in the top 4 is another year holding them off getting where they're going to end up inevitably anyway. But they will get there. Newcastle are just desperately trying to maintain a level that they're not good enough for. Maybe they started to believe their own hype. And I think Nick's probably got that right. Something's just changed with Newcastle. And, you know, I think before the World Cup, they were defying logic and they were just playing the game. Maybe they've started to, you know, maybe that World Cup break and where they are, maybe they've started to overthink what they're doing. and they can't get back into it. But all in all, we're not surprised by this result, are we? Standard Man City win, but there were opportunities there for Newcastle. 3 games without a goal, three games without a goal in the Premier League as well. No, not in the Premier League, because Carabao Cup final wasn't that. Hi Mark, looks like Potter has reverted to his Brighton formation. Any thoughts? Says Ood. Well, at some point he's got to. How's loyalty to Wilson? That's the problem, says Son. Today this could be. Well, hot take Bridge again. I did the video yesterday. I said Newcastle won't be getting top 4. I can't see a way back. I really can't. I wrote this down yesterday so I can go through it with you. But they will be, it's another loss. They've got to, not in this order, but they've still got to go to Chelsea. They've got to go to Leeds, who are fighting relegation. They've got Arsenal at home, Man United at home. They've got Villa away, who are a much better team now. You've got Everton away, who are fighting relegation. You've got West Ham away, who are fighting relegation. You've got Brentford away, who are brilliant. I mean, look, most fixtures in the Premier League, there's not many easy ones. You're not going to be playing Bournemouth at home every week, but they're not scoring goals. Their heads seem to have dropped. They need a bit of a kick up the arse, this Newcastle side. Who do I think is going to get top 4? I've been very consistent on this. Liverpool. So that means Spurs will miss out, because I can't see United missing out. So yeah, I think Spurs will get it. I'm not doing 3 o'clocks. I want to get something to eat, and I've got a couple of bits to do. I've got to do a quick video for United Stand as well, and then I'm off to play down the park with not on my own. That would be odd. I don't even like the thought of that. I'm off to play with Seb, bit of football, and then I'm on Talk Sport at 7:30. So we'll have all the results, all the chats. Let's see what Arsenal do. I'm sure they'll win. To quote BT Sport, I'm going to give man of the match to Phil Foden. I think he's a generational talent. These people get paid for quality insight like that. Mate, snub the mainstream until they get people on who know what they're on about. I mean, how you give Phil Foden man of the match because he scored a goal in the first half that was very good but should have been defended better. For me, you give man of the match to one of the Man City defenders if you've watched that game. Man City have defended really well. Maybe Diaz, maybe Akanji, but they've defended well. Maybe Rodri. You don't give it to Foden. They've hardly defended. Maybe Kyle Walker. Yeah, I mean, I can't say they haven't watched the game because they paid to have the bloody rights for the game. Phil Foden, man of the match, when Newcastle have had loads of chances, and yeah, no, not for me. Yeah, Aki as well. Yeah, any of their back 4. Probably not the goalkeeper. I don't think Edison's really had anything to do, but any of their back 4 or Rodri would get man of the match for me. But BT have given it to Foden. I tell you, English bias exists. Every bloody press conference, there's a question about Harry Maguire for Man United. It's ridiculous. It was said he wasn't that much of a miss when he was injured, but since Diaz has come back, City have been much calmer at the back, said Luke Jones. Look, if you keep clean sheets, you can't lose. Based Kirby, definitely Foden man of the match, you hating bum. Not been called that for a while. I knew Michael Owen was going to be in the chat. Apparently Foden was man of the match easy. Open your eyes. Mohammed, I don't know how you watch your games of football, but can you tell me why Foden's man of the match when most of the ball has been in your penalty box and your defenders have kept a clean sheet? I haven't seen Foden wave after wave after wave. There's been moments, but watch a game of football and write a paragraph about it. I used to do that when I was in my teens because I wanted to be a journalist for about a year. So I used to watch loads of football and I'd analyse a game in a paragraph. If I was analysing this game in a paragraph, I would say fantastic win for Manchester City, built on a ridiculously strong defensive performance and poor finishing by Newcastle, and then clinical takes from mistakes made by Newcastle from Man City. Both goals are preventable from Man City, and the headline really is Newcastle mistakes. But fair play to Man City. I would love this if I was a Man City fan, because that is the quintessential how you win titles, win when you're playing badly. That's not Man City at their best, and yet they've won 2-0. That's how you win titles. That's how you be in title races, because you win when you're playing badly, and they've done that. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. I will have another video going up on this channel at some point after the 5 o'clock games. I'll react to the most controversial results, which probably won't be Arsenal. Could be Chelsea. And make sure you subscribe. We've got Liverpool Man United tomorrow. That'll be on the United Stand. And don't forget tonight, it's live on YouTube at 7:30 till 9, but it's also live on national radio, the Mark Goldbridge call-in show, discussing all the day's action. Speak to you all in a bit. Stay safe. Take care, whatever you're doing, and I'll speak to you in a bit.